And we're back. Welcome. Um, I'm hoping that you won't see some of the freezing that I'm seeing on my end here. Well, if you're not, I'm not going to worry about it. But if you are, I'm sorry. It's just the computer seems to be acting a little wonky. Anyway, so on to our book of the week. Book of the week is the prologue to Fear Itself, Book of the Skull. It's a one-shot. Written by Ed Brubaker, and the art is done by Scott Eaton. Now this is essentially it services to show us exactly what might be the source of what Fear Itself is actually going to be about. Now, from what I'm gathering so far, the Fear Itself story is going to be very kind of Asgardian-centric. I mean, it will involve the entire Marvel Universe, but I think its origins begin in Asgard. At least that's what I'm picking up from some of the early parts of what I've read and what I've seen. Obviously, there's little bits drawn here and there at the end of each issue. I wasn't a huge fan of the art in this issue. Seems a little blocky. Bucky looks about like he's about 35 years old in some of the panels in this. And of course this takes place during World War II. So let me I should have prefaced my remarks about Bucky because he is a little bit older now, of course. But this is flashes back to basically Sin and Baron Zemo. Interesting combination there. Go to where they can find some information about what exactly the Red Skull did and how he might have kickstarted this whole Fear Itself deal here. And they call it the Skull's greatest failure. But it also may be Captain America's, and that's basically what this book is about. Is the confrontation that what the Red Skull was doing, basically slaughtering Atlanteans. So Namor, Cap, and Bucky, follow the Skull and the Nazis to where they to what they think is the weapon that he was trying to unearth, but actually the weapon itself is being hidden by the Red Skull. And that's what I think is going to be making an appearance in the actual Fear Itself storyline. Now, so again, it's I'm not a huge fan of everything Brubaker, so don't get me wrong. But I like this book. It's a good prologue. It leaves more than enough mystery to let us journey further into the Fear Itself story and see what exactly happens there. So glad to see that that's working. And just the little character moments with the younger Bucky is also kind of fun and kind of cool. So another one that the other two that I want to talk about that I don't have right now to show you are Amazing Spider-Man 656. Now this is part 2 of the No One Dies arc. Now this coming off, like I said, probably the best issue of Spider-Man that I've ever read, which was 655. So I've got to give a lot of kudos to Dan Slott for just an amazing writing job that he's doing right now. Yeah. So anyway, it picks up almost exactly where it leaves off. Now, basically, this issue has to do mostly with, of course, the idea of no more deaths, period. As far as Spider-Man is concerned, but it also has to do in a big way with the loss of his spider sense, and how he had to sacrifice it to try and save everybody, in which he saved quite a few people, but unfortunately couldn't save Marla Jameson. So this is and there's some really nice moments that that Slott fits in, and of course the construction of a new Spidey suit, which seems to be going around a lot on Dan's watch. But essentially, this is a more of a bulletproof suit because Spidey just can't rely on his spider sense to dodge bullets anymore. So in the end, he does, and there's a great moment with Jonah and the young child of one of the people that Massacre, the new supervillain, has murdered. And we see a little bit of Massacre's backstory here, why he became who he is. Just all in all, a really nice issue. Marcos Martin is doing, he's just slamming art home. That's another great thing about this book right now, is that Humberto Ramos does superheroes really well, but this is, Marcos Martin giving a throwback to the Steve Ditko art era. That's really powerful stuff to look at. It's very, it's a lot simpler. It's, like I said, it's a very kind of, 60s throwback artwork, very Steve Ditko reminiscent. So, that's a good thing. Not a huge fan of this bulletproof costume, but I can understand why it's in there. It's not just a gimmick, So, again, real pleasure reading this particular issue. Also, Morning Glories #8. Again, really strong writing. There's still a lot of mystery surrounding a lot of these characters, and that's what's kind of bringing us back for more. The potential date between Hunter and our female lead, but we learn a little bit about Hunter's backstory and an issue that he seems to have that doesn't really make a lot of sense right now, but I'm sure that will be revealed somewhere down the line. It's very clear that Nick Spencer has a very specific idea of how he wants to how he wants to go through this series, and he's laying the groundwork for it's kind of like Lost in that sense, or any really good kind of mysterious. Almost preternatural, serialized series where people have secrets, and we will find out what they are, but it's probably not going to be for a while. So it helps you to stay tuned, but it also helps you to stay into the characters, which is really cool. So, okay, so I promised we were going to talk some movie news, some comic movie news. We're going to jump, and we're going to be back. We're going to be back with that in just a bit. So stay tuned.